Okay, so let's talk about cows. I was on a video chat earlier with Travis over the Economic Ninja. If y'all don't know his channel, you definitely should go over there. But when I was talking to Travis, when I was wrapping up the call with him, he had said that he knew I was busy, he was going to let me go, and it just made me remember that I've got a cow down out in the field. So this cow has been bloating for the last couple of days. So for those of y'all that don't know how to deal with bloat, we're going to go over that. This cow, like I said, has gone down in the last 5 days, has probably gone down 8 times for bloat. And the bloat is what it is it's a gas bubble basically in their stomach. They can't pass it. The gas bubble gets too big, and as it expands, it pushes on their organs, and they eventually lose consciousness. That's why you see them passed out, because their lungs start having trouble getting breaths in. They start having trouble with their circulation, with their heart pumping effectively, and so it causes a bunch of internal issues with that, just pressing on them. Now, so we've come out several times and we treated this cow each time. Couldn't figure out why the cow kept getting bloat. And I called my vet, and what she told me, she said, you got a combination of issues. You've got cold weather, you've got a high protein feed that you're feeding them, because we're trying to get them to gain weight, even though this guy still looks scrawny as hell. We're trying to get them to gain some weight, so decently high protein feed. We're not doing alfalfa, but a high protein feed. And then since we don't worm, because that's one of our things, is not worming our cattle, and not using chemicals unless we have to, she said, you've probably got a mass of worms in his stomach. So all these things, plus the cold weather, he can't fight it off. I said, well, what do I do? She said, well, at this point in time, you have to, understand, the way that y'all like to raise them, but you have to worm them and get that taken care of. So we did, and like I said, we don't worm as a general practice, but we do have worming medicine on hand, and so we went ahead and took care of his worms and didn't screw around with it, and gave him his injection and moved on with life. Now, we came out the next day, and he was down, and we couldn't get him back up. So the first thing to do when a cow's down for bloat is to get their head pointed uphill. So a lot of times you can get that gas bubble out of there if you can just get their head pointed uphill and let it to naturally rise up. You'll hear a big belch, help them to their feet, and literally just lift them up on their stomach, and they'll get going. Whenever they're down, if you help them to their feet a little bit, you can usually kind of get that jump start there that they need. Anyways, we got his head uphill like we always do. Tried to lift him up. I got him one time to his feet, and he just keeled right over my arms and fell back down. So at that point in time, we knew we were in trouble. We went and got the tractor, moved him out here into the barn, and set him down on the ground. And we thought pretty much we were going to lose him this afternoon. So we took we saw him shivering, so we knew he was hypothermic. I knew he was at least cold anyways. And I took a rectal temperature of him. So that's what that looks like when you take a rectal temperature on an animal, guys. That does not look fun. So we took this rectal thermometer and got his temperature. His temperature was 96 degrees. For reference, he's supposed to be about 102 degrees. So this is substantially too cold for him. So he was hypothermic. That's part of the reason why he was shivering. And he's malnourished because he'd been bloating so bad the last 10 days or so, that he's having trouble keeping up with what he needs to do, and his body doesn't have the energy to fight it off. He's also dehydrated. You could tell when we started pouring the next step is to get the baking soda in him. When we started putting the baking soda in him, we could see his gums, and his gums were pasty white. So we knew he was hypothermic. You knew he was dehydrated. You could tell by his skin. The elasticity of his skin was just not there, so he was dehydrated. Now, the next step is to get the baking soda in them, and this will take care of most bloat issues, even real bad ones like this. Well, baking soda, if you work it and get their head uphill, baking soda will fix it. But you have to get their head uphill. That's the thing that you never read online. If you don't get their head uphill, you won't fix the bloat. So we got the cow's head uphill. We got him in here in the barn. Started getting him warmed up, and we get him some baking soda in him. The easiest way to get baking soda in him is to fill a water bottle, take just a normal Dasani water bottle or whatever, and fill it about a third full of baking soda. Seems like a lot, but they'll take it down, and it's not all going to get mixed in there anyway, so that gives you enough for a couple refills on it. Fill the rest up with water, shake it up real good, and then what you want to do is you want to stick 2 fingers down in his mouth and get his mouth open up to your knuckles. And then you fill his mouth up with water up to your first knuckle, and then stop, because you don't want him to aspirate on it. You want him to be able to swallow it. So once he swallows it, then you fill it up again and keep going and until he gets that all that baking soda down. If you can, get that bottle filled up again, get the rest of the baking soda out of there, and get him again with it. He'll drink it. That's not too much water for a cow. Cows drink lots of water, and he'll get that baking soda down. A lot of times you'll hear a big belch or a massive fart after that, and he'll be good to go. The next step is always helping them up. For whatever reason, no matter what you do with it, you got to help them up off the ground. They don't just seem to jump up off the ground like they do in the movies. You got to help them up off the ground. If that doesn't work, you have a couple other things that you can do. The next step that we always do is we carry a needle decompression with us. It's a 14-gauge needle decompression. This just lets a little bit of air out of their stomach. All we're going to do is where that rumen is high, we're going to pop it and stick this needle decompression in there and let some of that air out of their rumen. If that doesn't work, then you have to open up that hole a little bit more, and you have to use something like a trocar or even a pocket knife. I've done a pocket knife before where you stab them in the gut with a pocket knife. You got to know where to stick them, and I'll be honest with you, it's not super successful. It's a last resort. If they have the bloat that's that bad, they've already probably passed it on, and they have more gastrointestinal issues and toxicity, and so it's probably not going to save them anyways. But certainly worth trying, because you're going to lose them certainly if you don't. So that's how you deal with bloat. Now, one other thing that you can do, you can tube them, and you can get a tube down their throat. And the way to do that, I've done it with the garden hose, but garden hose is a little bit big. Best way is like a surgical hose or something like that. That's fairly stiff, but I guess flaccid enough to get down their throat. And you just ease it in there and let them swallow it. Don't force it down their throat. They'll swallow it naturally. And as soon as you hit that, you'll hear a big pop, and that rumen will release all that gas through the tube, and that works pretty well too. And you would do that before you stab them. Obviously, stabbing them is the last resort, so you don't want to avoid that unless you absolutely have to. You only do that if you think you're going to lose the cow, anyways. So now we've got the cow's bloat under control. So we had to get the hypothermia under control. So brought him in here to the barn, ran the heater for a little while. We got him covered with some blankets. Got some hay on the ground, so he has some bedding to sleep on. So he's not just sleeping on the hard concrete, because this is normally where I park my tractor. We're getting him warmed up. He took a while before he stood up. Next thing I'm doing with him is we're giving him a little bit of corn. Now, y'all know we don't feed our cows corn, so this is the only corn he'll get in his life. And this is why we tell you, we don't screw around when we have to treat an animal with an issue. We treat them. And so I don't ever guarantee that our cows are raised corn-free or soy-free or chemical-free. We just take out as much of it as we can. Our cows do not eat corn or soy or have chemicals in their diet on a regular basis. He was sick, and we're not going to let him die just to keep that precedent. So he needed some medicine. He would have been gone if we hadn't wormed him and if we hadn't given him some corn. He needs these carbohydrates and we got to get some fat on him. So he's going to be in here eating corn for a couple days. We're going to get a little bit of fat on him, and I may even pick up another bag of corn just to feed him, another bag or two just to keep him going for a little while. He might be on corn for a little bit, and because we want to get some fat on him. And if we don't, he's not going to make it. So he can't handle the cold weather without any meat on those bones. And you can see back there, you see his pin bones and pins and hooks and everything on the rear end, and he's just super bony. So we need him to put on some weight. So he's going to get some corn. This is loaded with carbohydrates, a little bit of protein. That's going to help him gain some fat, gain some energy. And he's no longer shivering, which is good, but he's still pretty weak. And so we just need to make sure he's got nice, clean, fresh water and that he has got plenty to eat. We don't want to feed him just straight corn because he's not used to it. So it is mixed in here with some fairly low quality hay. It's mostly just carbon, and so it's just going to work for him just to help this corn digest a little bit better. That's all we're trying to do. We're not actually using the hay as any type of nutritional supplement in here. He's only going to be in here a short time, so we're not real worried about that. We just want him to get some good carbohydrates in him. If he ends up needing to be separated a little bit longer, then we'll have to give him some other options and give him some higher protein hays and stuff. But as of right now, that's where we're at. So anyways, guys, I'm sorry, this went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how to treat bloat. There is no videos on this when we were first dealing with it, and so I wanted you guys to have an idea of the ins and outs and what we figured out from going through our vets and dealing with this. If you're looking at starting this, especially if you got just 2, 3, 4, 5 cows, it's hard to find this information. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Share this around if you know anybody trying to do this, guys. I know, again, this is kind of off from our normal economic stuff that we've been doing lately, but again, this is a lifestyle home self-sufficiency channel. That's what this is. This is a homesteading channel. So we're going to talk about everything on here, from cows to goats to business startup to economics to business development. We're going to talk about everything, guys, because Marilyn and I have been through a lot of this crap. And so we just want to share this with y'all and get y'all the information that you need to make good decisions. So you can learn from our mistakes and not have to make them yourself. You don't have to lose a cow because you stabbed it too early. We've done that. So the cow is going to make it through. He's standing, he's moving, and he should be just fine here. And he'll make it. Hopefully he'll reach slaughter weight in about a year, but he may be a little bit of a lagger. He's not putting on weight real well, so he might be a touch behind. All right, guys, I'll let y'all go. Really appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see y'all hopefully next time. But hopefully next time, hopefully tomorrow. But I know we're hitting the holidays here, about a couple days away from Christmas, so we may take a few days off for Christmas, and in which case we'll be back posting probably on about the 27th. So Merry Christmas.